starting now, and we want you to give like a quick introduction about yourself, who you are, what you do.
Sure. My name is Haris. I'm based in Cyprus. I'm a counseling psychologist, but counseling psychology has not been my only hat, professional hat, let's say. I've also cultivated the experience and skills in being a facilitator for social emotional learning through active learning methods. And after 22 years in the field, I'm also trying to expand on sharing the experiences and the ideas that I've gained through interacting in different fields with working in different fields, and also in consulting other people on how to set up their educational or experiential learning programs.
Okay. So, our topic that we wanted to discuss about was stress management of students. It's really hard to manage a lot of things, which causes the stress. So we had a set of questions that we wanted to ask you, if that's okay.
Yeah. So you're Sharara,
Yes.
then
Yes,
is it Farhan?
yeah, Farhan is one of the
Yeah.
content writers, and this is Awana. She is the head
Okay.
of the content writing and research department.
All right. Nice to meet you. And if I understand correctly, just to get a bit of background information on you, are you all students in high school or college?
We're all students in high school. All of our team members are from grade 9 to grade 12.
Okay. So the questions that you would like to ask me, would you say they refer mostly to the needs of people in your community, whether that's a geographical community or um, or of any other characteristics?
I think our
Mostly
questions,
teenagers and yeah.
yeah, it's based on students and what students sort of go through and suffer. We wanted the questions to be relatable because most of our audiences are around our age. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. I'll try to be as helpful as possible with my responses.
Yes, thank you. Okay, Awana, do you want to start us off?
Yeah, sure. So a lot of people our age actually struggle with this. It's when they've already gotten off track. So this is due to poor management of time and other things. So how can we get back on track after we've already gone off?
Okay. Can you explain a little bit from your context what exactly you mean by going off track?
Sort of like you're already falling behind on the work you have and how we can, get back on track and start making more progress since we're already falling behind.
Okay. So academically, more or less, what are you
Sort of,
expected
yeah.
to? Yeah. So let's say it's academically that you are finding that you're falling off track, right? So you're not keeping up with school-related obligations. How demanding would you say your educational system is in your part of the world?
It's quite demanding. It is.
And are you expected to take any globally administered exams like the GCSEs?
Sort of. Most of the country goes by either the board system, where we have to give like several board exams, or we have to go by the British um, examination board, so the O-level, A-level system. So it's a lot of pressure on students these days because, we're only 16, 17-year-olds are preparing to give one of the biggest exams. So how do you think someone can deal with that?
Okay. Now, if somebody's falling off track has fallen off track recently, while they have been somebody who was able to keep track of what they had to do in the years before, it means that maybe they're going through some temporary challenges that they have the skills to surpass because maybe, I don't know, some sort of pressure in their family. Maybe they have some sort of romantic breakup that affected them. But if somebody has been falling off track for a while now, then they would need a different intervention, I would say, a different set of solutions in order to get back on track. That's why I'm trying to understand what you mean by falling off track.
Yeah. So they sort of need to find their own, like, the root of the problem.
Well, clearly, yes, if falling off track is a problem, then you need to find a solution to it, right?
Exactly,
There
yeah.
are there are different tools that a student can use. While I was working in a school recently, I made up a whole list, like a study tools inventory, where I made a collection of different um, activities or ideas that the students can use when they're trying to prepare, doing their homework or preparing for exams and so forth. Of course, that's the one thing. So if you need help in getting back on track with your study, and you haven't been using any study tools, like, I don't know, looking at your text and coming up with the key words that you need to remember. If you're asked to memorize, obviously, for these board exams and the British exams, like looking at past papers, or talking to peers, having a study group with your peers, or coming up with abbreviations or using Cornell notes. So there are a number of tools that a student can use in order to get back on track with their study. And obviously, checking in with their teachers in order to get any help they need at school, or checking in with their parents in order to get any help they need outside of school in order to get back in line in terms of, being better prepared for the exams. That's one thing. But then the other thing is that somebody needs to have, no matter what study tools they're using, is to have, to have the right setting for them to be able to study, like a quiet setting. They need to have, they need to plan, use a daily agenda to plan what they need to do so that they're not falling behind. They need to get enough sleep. They need to have good social relations, like a calm family environment and healthy friendships, to be able to balance between schoolwork and the rest of their life parts. They need to be able to put their phone away and keep away from the regular visual auditory distractions that the phone gives us. They need to
Yeah,
think positively that no matter what, even this shall pass. Even if I don't make it to get
exactly.
into, a very demanding school, I might have five other options, or I might have other options in general, right? So there are a number of things that, in terms of study tools, that you can use to get back on track, but also you need a number of other things that, what I described, to be able to have effective study overall.
Hmm. Thank you so much. And now for the second question, it's so, like, what are the typical signs of someone who's struggling with managing their time effectively? And how can we minimize, sort of being careless with our time?
Well, usually I think a young person that's struggling will might find themselves withdrawn to their mind process a lot. They might start feeling that their stomach cramps, or they might develop like physical symptoms, like losing their appetite, or feeling sick, or developing panic symptoms, not being able to breathe properly, and all that, because their mind is stuck in the worst case scenario thinking. I'm not going to do this. This is too much for me. Others are further ahead. My parents will be very disappointed. I won't be able to go to this university that's number one on my list. So those are usually the symptoms. So you start with
Yeah.
getting stuck in your concentrate. Usually these are the signs of struggling.
Okay. And how can we sort of deal with that? How can we minimize these symptoms?
Well, you need to backtrack to what is that worst case scenario in one's mind, because without our mind, many things wouldn't be possible. Our mind is using our brain and our body in order to do whatever it wants to do. And it will develop if we're piling up social emotional burdens, then our mind is collecting that, and it's going to show it off through our body, hence all the symptoms of the physical symptoms of struggling. So you have to go back to what is that worst case scenario and unpack and deconstruct all the self-defeating thoughts. I don't know how to study, I'm not good enough, I'm a failure. Once somebody starts to deconstruct those and understand what is going on exactly, why that worst case scenario has been generated, and what is making that young person having a lot on their mind without being able to verbalize them, without being able to share them, without being able to decompress within their family system. So yeah, you have to backtrack to that. And then once you unpack that, it makes everything else easier, I would say.
Students develop a positive mindset in the face of stress?
Okay. I'd like to explore with you a little bit your cultural context. Are there words or are there popular sayings within the Bangladeshi culture that talk about positive thinking or encourage people to have a positive mindset? Is that a part of people's everyday language?
I would say mental health in general is not really that, um, it's not really a center of topic for anyone in here. It's it's not really, I've never really seen any mental health organizations or NPOs really common in Bangladesh because it's not really a common topic for people to have or people to prioritize in their life. So that's what I would say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it happens that in different cultures around the world, the words mental health might not even exist as such in the vocabulary. However, would you say that people have some words that describe peace of mind? It might not be mental health, but actually mental health means peace of mind. Not struggling with a lot of thoughts all the time, having some space of coolness and peace in our mind. So would the Bangladeshi culture have something relevant to that when it comes to achieving peace of mind?
I think if people are really struggling in my country, I don't think people talk about it often. It's not really something that's really spoken of, but I think um, to reduce that stress and peace of mind, people usually have, go to celebrations to uplift their mind or hang out with friends, something like that. I think our
Mhm.
community is really nice. I think that's what's a positive thing in our culture. So yeah, that's what I would say.
Okay. Now, obviously, your part of the world is where a lot of meditation skillfulness has been practiced, right? And meditation helps us stay in the present moment so that we're not traveling all the time into our past. Oh, I didn't manage then, so I'm probably not going to manage now, right? Or 2 days from now, or being stuck in the future and worrying a lot about the future. And in effect, not helping the future because we're too stressed in the present moment. So there's the skillfulness of being calm and centered with one's breath so that you understand, okay, things are changing all the time, and I can center on my breath and I can be calmer, right? And knowing at the same time that things are changing all the time, and if things are changing, then what can I do in order to make things change for the better, or for me, or for my community, or for my school, or whatever needs to be changed. So if I'm centered in the present moment and I understand that I can take a position of doing things to help my present moment so that I can cultivate a better future, then what of the number of choices that I have can I practice right now? You yourselves made a very nice blog post. I think it was today that I saw it, where you were talking about different ideas, getting some sleep, exercising, having good social relations, or getting some sunlight, detoxing from your phone. Those are very good practical things that a person can cultivate today in order to build a better tomorrow, right? Lead to a better tomorrow. And so once you are cultivating skills, then it goes without saying that that helps you have a more positive outlook on what's going to happen to you.
For managing stress? And what are some tips for improving sleep hygiene?
For improving, what was that? The last two words?
Improving your sleep hygiene, like your sleep schedule. Yes.
All right. Yes. Uh, okay. The more technology we have in our lives, the more we are challenged to use it as an extension of our eyes and our hands, right? So obviously, the more we can stay away from it, in order to be able to go to sleep on time, that's very important, and that's for young people and adults as well, right? We have an abundance of stimulation available to us at the moment with technology. And so letting go of that is very challenging, because maybe the moment you decide, okay, I'm very tired, I'm going to go to sleep, something pops up in front of you, or you remember that you wanted to check out a video that you had seen, I don't know, that you wanted to know more about, and then you put yourself in the position of staying on and on and on and not going to sleep on time. So that's one thing, being able to really stay disciplined when it comes to using technology and screens. That's I think at the moment that's part one of having a good sleep hygiene. Then obviously you need to be able to be in an environment which is noise free, ideally, in order to sleep well, that has a temperature that is close to, body temperature, not too cold, not too hot, in order to sleep well. Not having eaten heavy meals before going to bed. Many people will say don't exercise intensely before going to bed, because then you stimulate the body, and the body needs more time to rest after that. So those are the basics when it comes to getting some proper sleep. But technology is definitely factor number one at this moment in life.
My question is, in situations where poor management are reinforced by low motivation or lack of resources, what particular steps can students take to, to break that cycle of stress?
There's the Science Bee website, which offers science-based learning, especially for rural youth in Bangladesh. There's Nerdist, which offers virtual reality education. There's the Connect platform, the Knowledge platform, and there's also the application called Rangit, which offers a social emotional curriculum for young people aged 6 to 16. I'm not sure if you're aware of all these resources. I can share a link with you later. But yes, obviously, being able to have access to as many resources as possible, especially, and I'm happy when people are thinking about what's missing in their country and they try to come up with innovative ideas in order to cover the needs of young people in their context. So if you're lacking resources, then maybe these innovations can be a resource for young people. The motivation, I would have to say, it's much easier to feel demotivated in learning if the content, if what you're offered educationally is either very book based, is very theoretical, is very monotonous, does not include active learning, does not spark your curiosity, because we all have natural curiosity in us, right? The child within stays alive, and from the first day where we get born until the day we die. So we just have to be able to cultivate that natural spark, enthusiasm, and curiosity of the child inside of us. And we need context and educational programs that trigger that for us, so that we find meaning in what we're learning and then become more motivated. It's like a very nice cycle, right? You get triggered, your curiosity gets triggered, so your motivation gets triggered and you want to know more. In one of the posts that I made recently about successful studying on my Instagram page where I address the trilogy of time management tips, successful studying, and going for your goals. I talk about this, that it's easier for us to study if I'm trying to find it now. If what we're offered is meaningful for us and triggers our curiosity more easily. So yes, and also I would say I would ask what kind of role do parents play or friends play. Usually we are jointly motivated with our peers. If our peers are, they are motivated about what we're learning together, and they can, help us, bring us close, and help us study, and say let's study together. Let's try to unpack this difficult material that we were given to prepare for. Let's work on it together. That can also help us be more motivated. If our parents are, even if our parents are not, understand and cannot help us study or, do our homework, they can still be motivating in terms of by saying, I love you, I care for you, it doesn't matter, just do your best, right? And just try as much as you can, and whatever happens, we're still gonna love you.
Yes, of course, you're very much correct. But the problem with motivation is in our culture, our parents don't usually, normally, typically, don't motivate us like that. And if we were to talk about our peers or friends, this motivation is a sudden spike of motivation, but it it dies off. So
Mm,
if I were to replace the word motivation with momentum here, that would be more, clear to ask it, how can I create that momentum of motivation, create
mm,
consistency? How can
mhm.
I force myself to study every single day, a little bit?
All right. Would you say that the young people you're thinking about are being raised in order to achieve passing the exams they're preparing for, in order to get a particular job in a particular sector, or in order to be considered successful in life? Is that a pressure or an expectation that young people in your context are growing up with?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So it's like a key to whatever they want to do, right? Passing those exams.
Yes.
hmm And is passing those exams, but with a particular grade, is it so you can pass the exams and then
Mhm.
maybe I don't know how much availability you have in your local universities, the universities in your area. Would you say that most people are able to enter university if that's what they want, or are they able to find a job if that's what they want just by passing the exams? Or is the climate so competitive that they need to get top grades for them to be able to have options after high school?
Um, add, even if for like the students that do want to stay, in the country and sort of improve the country, they also have to go through a very difficult process to get some of the high ranking jobs sort of in the government and stuff. So they have to go through a lot of hurdles to actually get where they are. And a lot of the time, sort of people with more money or people with a better status end up getting the jobs that they work quite hard for. So this ends up to leading to way more stress than other people may experience.
I understand. Now, here's the thing. I fully understand the need to get scholarships. I wasn't able to study. I wouldn't have been able to study and finish with up to my master's level if I hadn't gotten some scholarships myself. So I understand the pressure of knowing that if I don't get the scholarships, I don't have the financial ability to be able to, get where I want to get. So I fully understand that. On the other side, you might be thinking, okay, so young people in the US, for example, they have so many universities, colleges that they can apply to, but they also struggle on their side with huge college debts that they cannot pay off. So they are also in a difficult situation that they also struggle. It seems that because young people are not a voting lobby, there's no lobby, unfortunately, that will defend the rights of young people, because if you don't vote, you're not taken into consideration, and that's the problem of the young people around the world. They don't have lobbies supporting them in government, against government, for example.